The officer's hand moved toward his gun. His face was red, twisted with anger. I said, "Put your hands where I can see them. Now." Maya didn't move. She sat perfectly still on the bar stool, her brown eyes locked on his. The entire bar had gone silent. 20 people watched, phones out, waiting for something bad to happen. "Officer," Maya said quietly, "you really don't want to do this." He laughed. It was cruel, mocking. "Oh, I don't? You threatening me now?" "No, I'm warning you." His partner stepped closer, hand also on his belt. The bartender backed away. The drunk guy who had called the cops grinned from across the room, like he was watching his favorite show. Maya reached slowly into her purse. "Don't move," both officers shouted. She pulled something out and placed it gently on the bar counter. A gold badge. FBI. The room exploded into chaos. 48 hours earlier. My name is Maya Lewis. I'm a senior special agent with the FBI's Counterintelligence Division. I've been doing this for 12 years. I've taken down terrorists, corrupt politicians, and trafficking rings that most people couldn't even imagine existed. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for what happened in that small-town bar. It started on a Thursday. I just finished a 2-week undercover operation in Ohio. I was exhausted. My body ached. My mind was foggy. All I wanted was to drive home, shower, and sleep for 3 days straight. I was still 4 hours from home when my gas light came on. I pulled off the highway into a town I'd never heard of. Population 3,000. The kind of place where everyone knows everyone, and outsiders stick out like blood on snow. I filled up my tank at a rundown gas station. The attendant stared at me the entire time. Not a friendly stare. Not a curious stare. The kind of stare that makes your skin crawl. I checked my phone. Still had work emails coming in. My boss wanted a report by Monday. I rubbed my temples. I needed caffeine. Maybe food. Something to keep me awake for the drive. That's when I saw it. A bar across the street. Eddie's Place. Neon sign flickering. A few trucks in the parking lot. I should have kept driving. I really should have. But I was tired and thirsty. And honestly, I didn't think it would be a big deal to grab a Coke and maybe some fries. I was wrong. The bar. The moment I walked through the door, I felt it. That shift in energy. Like when a predator enters a room and all the prey animals freeze. The bar wasn't crowded. Maybe 15 people total. All white. Mostly men. A few women in the corner playing pool. Every single person turned to look at me. Not a quick glance. A full head-to-toe stare. I'm used to this. Being a black woman in law enforcement, you develop thick skin fast. But this felt different. This felt hostile. I walked to the bar and sat down. The bartender, a heavy-set white guy with a graying beard, pretended not to see me. He was wiping down glasses, his back half turned. "Excuse me," I said. He kept wiping. "Excuse me, sir." He glanced over his shoulder like I was bothering him. "Yeah. Can I get a Coke, please? And a menu if you have one." He stared at me for a long moment. Then he went back to wiping glasses. "Kitchen's closed." "That's fine. Just a Coke then." He didn't move. A guy at the end of the bar snorted. "Maybe she didn't hear you, Eddie. Kitchen's closed." Eddie smirked. "Yeah, closed." I took a slow breath. "Stay calm, Maya. You're off duty. You're tired. Don't engage. Just a soda then. Please." Eddie finally turned around fully. He crossed his arms. "We got a dress code here." I looked down at myself. I was wearing jeans and a plain black jacket. Nothing offensive. Nothing revealing. "I'm dressed fine," I said evenly. I don't think so." He looked me up and down like I was garbage. "This is a private establishment. We reserve the right to refuse service." My jaw tightened. I could feel eyes on me from every direction. Phones were already out. People were recording. I could have left, should have left, but I'd driven 4 hours. I was exhausted, and I was so damn tired of this nonsense. "Sir, I just want a drink." "I'll pay. I'll leave. No trouble." A voice from behind me, loud and slurred. Too late for that, sweetheart. I turned. A man in his 40s, beer gut hanging over his belt, stood too close to me. His breath smelled like whiskey and cigarettes. "You already caused trouble by walking in here," he said. His buddies laughed. I didn't respond. I just stared at him until he got uncomfortable and looked away. But he wasn't done. He stepped even closer, invading my space. Then he stumbled, bumping into me hard. "Hey, watch where you're going," he shouted, pushing me back. I barely moved, but he acted like I'd shoved him across the room. "Did you see that?" he yelled at the bar. "She just assaulted me." "I didn't touch you," I said calmly. "You calling me a liar?" His face was red now, veins bulging in his neck. The bartender leaned over the counter. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you to leave." "I didn't do anything." "You're causing a disturbance." I'm sitting here, quietly. The drunk guy got louder. "She's aggressive. Someone call the cops." And that's exactly what he did. He pulled out his phone, dialed 911, and said, "Yeah, we got a black woman here at Eddie's causing problems. She's being aggressive. Threatened me. You better send someone quick." I closed my eyes, took a deep breath. Here we go. The cops arrived in less than 5 minutes. That should have told me something right there. In this town, they responded fast when the call was about someone who looked like me. 2 officers, both white, both wearing expressions like they'd already decided I was guilty before they even walked in. The first officer was tall, mid-30s, but was cut, square jaw. His name tag said Dawson. The second was older, stockier, with a mustache that looked like it hadn't been trimmed since the 90s. His tag read Porter. They didn't ask questions. They didn't assess the situation. They walked straight toward me like I was the problem. "All right, let's go," Dawson said. "Outside. Now." I stayed seated. I haven't done anything wrong. "We got a call about a disturbance. You need to step outside so we can talk." "I'm happy to talk right here." His hand moved to his belt. Not his gun yet, but close enough to send a message. "I'm not asking," he said. Porter circled around behind me. Classic intimidation tactic. Make the person feel surrounded. Make them feel small. The drunk guy who'd called him was leaning against the bar, arms crossed, grinning like he'd just won the lottery. "She pushed me, officers," he said. "Got real aggressive when I asked her to apologize." I turned slowly to look at him. "I never touched you." "You calling me a liar?" he shot back. Louder now, playing to crowd. Dawson stepped closer. "Ma'am, I need to see some ID." "For what?" I asked. "I'm sitting here. I haven't committed a crime." "ID now." I could feel my pulse rising. Not from fear. From anger. I've been trained to handle high-pressure situations. I've negotiated with armed suspects. I've diffused hostage situations. But this was different. This was personal. "Officer Dawson," I said, keeping my voice level, "I'm not required to show you ID unless you have reasonable suspicion that I committed a crime. Sitting in a bar is not a crime." His eyes narrowed. "You refusing to cooperate?" "I'm asking you what crime you think I committed." Porter spoke up from behind me. "You're being real difficult right now, you know that?" I turned to face him. "I'm asserting my rights. That's not being difficult. That's being a citizen." The bar was dead silent now. Everyone was watching. Phones were still recording. This was going to be all over social media by morning. Dawson stepped so close I could smell the coffee on his breath. "Let me make something clear. You don't belong here. This is a peaceful town. We don't need people like you coming in and stirring up trouble. People like me." There it was. I felt the rage bubble up in my chest, but I forced it down. I've learned over the years that anger only makes things worse in moments like this. They want you to react. They want you to give them a reason. I wasn't going to give them one. "Officer," I said quietly, "I'm advising you to step back. You don't want to escalate the situation." He laughed. Actually laughed. Right in my face. "Escalate what? You think you're somebody? You think you matter?" The bar chuckled. A few people clapped. Porter moved closer. "Maybe we should just take her in. Disorderly conduct. Resisting. Dawson nodded. Yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. He reached for my arm. Don't touch me, I said firmly. His hand hovered. You resisting arrest now? I'm not under arrest. You have no legal reason to detain me. We'll see about that. He grabbed my wrist. And that's when I decided this had gone far enough. I didn't pull away. I didn't fight. I just said very calmly, take your hand off me, right now. Something in my tone made him pause. Maybe it was the confidence. Maybe it was the fact that I wasn't scared. He let go, but only to reach for his handcuffs. All right, that's it. You're coming with us. Porter stepped up, ready to grab my other arm. The drunk guy was howling with laughter now. Bet she'll learn some respect in a cell. I looked at both officers, looked at the bartender, looked at every smug face in that bar, and then I reached slowly into my purse. Both officers tense immediately, hands where I can see them. Dawson barked, "Don't move." Porter shouted, his hand flying to his gun. The entire bar gasped. Someone screamed. I kept my movement slow, deliberate. I pulled my hand out of my purse, and I placed my FBI badge on the bar counter. The sound it made hitting the wood echoed like a gunshot. Gold Shield, Federal Bureau of Investigation, Senior Special Agent Maya Lewis, Counterintelligence Division. For a moment, no one moved. No one breathed. Dawson's face went pale. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Porter took a step back like I just pulled a grenade. The drunk guy stopped laughing. Eddie the bartender looked like he might pass out. I stood up slowly, picked up my badge, and clipped it to my belt. Then I pulled out my federal ID and held it up for everyone to see. My name is Senior Special Agent Maya Lewis. I said, loud enough for everyone to hear. I am a federal agent with the FBI. I am currently on duty. And as of this moment, you have all just interfered with federal investigation. The panic in the room was instant. Dawson started stuttering. We didn't. We were just responding to a call. You were responding with bias. I cut him off. You made assumptions. You escalated. And now you're going to answer for it. Porter tried to backtrack. Ma'am, we were just doing our jobs. Your job is to assess situations fairly and protect citizens. You did neither. I turned to bartender. I need your security footage. All of it, from the moment I walked in. Eddie's hands were shaking. We don't. You have cameras, I said, pointing at the corner of the room. I can see them. Hand over footage. Now. Then I turned to the drunk guy, who was trying to slink toward the door. You, stay right where you are. He froze. I pulled out my phone and made a call. It rang twice. This is Lewis. I need a team at my location immediately. I've got a situation that just became very interesting. Within 20 minutes, the bar was swarming with federal agents. My team had been working a case 2 towns over. When I called, they dropped everything and came running. Special Agent Torres arrived first. He took one look at me, then at the cops, then at the terrified crowd, and he grinned. Maya, you can't go anywhere without causing a scene, can you? Not my fault this time, I said. They started it. He laughed, then got serious. What do you need? Body cam footage from these 2 officers. Security footage from the bar. Statements from every witness. And I want a full background check on everyone in this room. Torres nodded and got to work. Dawson tried to protest. This is ridiculous. We didn't do anything wrong. I turned to him slowly. You threatened a federal agent. You attempted an unlawful arrest. You demonstrated clear bias. And worst of all, you did it all on camera. Porter was sweating now. We were just doing our jobs. No, I said coldly. You were doing what you always do. You saw someone who didn't look like you, and you assumed the worst. You didn't ask questions. You didn't investigate. You just decided I was guilty. I let that sink in. Then I turned to the crowd. Here's what's going to happen. You're all going to give statements. You're all going to hand over any video you recorded. And if I find out anyone deletes footage or lies in their statement, you'll be charged with obstruction of justice. The room was silent, except for nervous shuffling. Eddie the bartender spoke up, his voice shaky. Look, we don't want any trouble. Too late, I said. You refuse service based on race. That's a violation of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. But that's not even the interesting part. I walked over to the bar and leaned against it, looking Eddie dead in the eyes. See, I wasn't just passing through. I've been investigating a trafficking ring operating in this region for the past 6 months. And guess what? Your bar's name came up. Multiple times. His face went white. Money laundering. Suspicious transactions. Meetings with known criminals. We've been watching you, Eddie. We just didn't have enough evidence to move yet. I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. But now you've given me probable cause to tear this place apart. Torres walked over with a tablet. Maya, you're going to want to see this. He showed me the security footage. Clear as day. Me sitting quietly. The drunk guy bumping into me and pretending I pushed him. The bartender refusing service. The cops arriving aggressive and biased. Perfect, I said. Make copies. Send them to the district attorney. Then Torres showed me something else. Financial records. Eddie's bar had been moving large amounts of cash through shell companies. The drunk guy who called the cops? His name was Carl Winters. He had a record. Assault, drug possession. And he'd been flagged in our investigation as a possible middleman. Carl Winters. I called out. He was sitting in the corner now, head in his hands. Stand up. He didn't move. I said, stand up. 2 agents pulled him to his feet. Carl Winters, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit human trafficking, money laundering, and obstruction of justice. His eyes went wide. What? No, I didn't. Save it, I said. We've been building a case for months. You just made it easier by drawing attention to yourself. As they cuffed him and let him out, he started crying. Actual tears. This is insane. I just called the cops on some woman causing trouble. I walked up to him. No, Carl. You called the cops because you're a racist. And your racism just exposed you to the one person who could bring your entire operation down. He was still sobbing as they shoved him into the back of a squad car. Dawson and Porter were next. They weren't arrested. Not yet. But they were suspended pending investigation. Their body cams had captured everything. The threats, the bias, the illegal detention attempt. Porter tried one last time to defend himself. We were just responding to a call. I looked at him, really looked at him. You were looking for an excuse. And when you didn't find one, you tried to create one. That's not policing. That's prejudice with a badge. He had nothing to say to that. By midnight, the bar was empty except for my team. We'd seized financial records, computers, security footage, everything. Eddie was in custody. Carl was in custody. 3 other people from the bar had been detained for questioning. Torres clapped me on the shoulder. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, just tired. You want to head out? We can handle the rest. No, I said, I'm seeing this through. He smiled. That's why you're the best. As I walked out of the bar, I looked back one more time. The neon sign was still flickering. The parking lot was empty, except for federal vehicles. This town had tried to make me feel small, tried to make me feel like I didn't belong. But I wasn't the one who didn't belong. They were. 3 weeks later, the case moved fast. Carl Winters flipped on the trafficking ring to save himself. Eddie lost his bar and faced federal charges. Dawson and Porter were fired from the police department and faced civil rights violation charges. The town made national news. FBI agent racially profiled by local police. The mayor gave a press conference apologizing. The police chief resigned. I didn't watch any of it. I was already on to the next case. But I did get a call from my boss. Maya, you've got a knack for turning bad situations into career-making cases. I laughed. Just lucky, I guess. Luck had nothing to do with it. You kept your cool. You followed protocol. And you turned their hate into evidence. That stuck with me. They didn't get in trouble because of who I am. They got in trouble because of who they chose to be. Racism doesn't just hurt the people it targets. It exposes the people who practice it. It makes them sloppy, reckless, stupid. And in this job, stupid gets you caught. I hung up the phone and got back to work. Because somewhere out there, someone else needed help. Someone else was being underestimated. And I'd be ready. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. You never know when the next power reversal is coming.